Where are the strengths of China's military-industrial complex, and does it really manage its resources better than the Americans? Watch this video to the end to find out. The modernization of the armed forces is one of the priorities set by the Chinese leadership. For a long time, China has cloned foreign, primarily Soviet, weapons systems in order to create its own military equipment. In part, this practice continues today, but the situation has changed, and now the Chinese defense industry has a number of its own original developments based on the most advanced technologies. According to General Holt, the Chinese army receives new equipment 5 to 6 times faster than the Americans. Moreover, purchasing power parity is more favorable for China. To get the same capabilities, China spends $1 compared to the $20 the Pentagon spends. We're going to lose if we don't figure out how to cut costs and accelerate our defense supply chain. Holt said at this year's Government Contract Pricing Summit. The general advocates changing the funding model to a cash flow model, which involves reducing the Pentagon's ability to move funds around, increasing congressional oversight, and intervening in a more timely manner. The current system, Holt notes, was developed during the Cold War and worked well then. But in an era of very rapid technological development, it is proving insufficiently flexible and responsive to change. Without thorough and rapid reform of the military procurement system, there is no chance of effectively competing with China. Holt is not the only critic of the current state of affairs. In 2017, General John Hyten, then Vice Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, spoke of how the U.S. military-industrial complex had lost the ability to move fast. 2 years later, as Commander of Strategic Command, he warned that the enemy, China, was moving faster than the United States. We need to move faster, and we're not doing it, and that makes me very nervous, Hyten said. Another person sounding the alarm is Nicholas Cheyenne, who until recently was in charge of the software used by the U.S. Air Force. In his view, the Pentagon is already behind China in areas such as cyber capabilities, machine learning and artificial intelligence, and in 15 to 20 years the US will have no chance. Chilin calls for more innovation, faster prototyping and testing, and greater efficiency. Is it really that bad? Note that many of Chilin's requirements are to be implemented in the NGAD program, the 6th generation fighter jet. Although China has made tremendous progress in artificial intelligence and machine learning, it is far from winning. In short, China can produce more cheaply and set more limited goals, allowing it to manage its resources more efficiently. But does the price at which the Chinese arms industry supplies its products to the military match their real value? Not necessarily. Chinese industry benefits greatly from implicit government support. These are not subsidies, although they are very popular, but lower payments for energy, water, land rent, and various tax breaks. In this way, some of the costs are shifted elsewhere. China also often criticizes the local choice of military armaments. There is a perception that building aircraft carriers, next-generation fighters and increasingly advanced cruise missiles is a waste of money. To be able to challenge the United States, we need to focus on advanced technologies, such as drones and artificial intelligence, where the potentials of the two sides are more aligned. In addition to the development of manned systems, China, of course, gives credit to the topic of drones. But while the Wing-Long large-scale reconnaissance and strike UAV is an obvious attempt to keep up with the American MQ-1 Predator and MQ-9 Reaper, the Chinese work on artificial intelligence-controlled swarms of mini-drones can be recognized as pioneering. In December 2017, 1,108 drones soared into the air at a forum in Guangzhou, which, acting in close proximity to each other, did not collide, but instead interacted perfectly as a unit. The military application of this technology is self-evident. Fighting off a swarm of mosquitoes is more difficult than repelling an attack by a large bird. A drone cloud can be used for reconnaissance, for blinding air defenses, for small point-blank strikes against targets. Finally, we do not know the extent of political interference in Chinese military programs. Given the dense network of ties between factions within the Chinese Communist Party and the military-industrial complex and their fierce rivalry, it must be assumed that projects not under the direct control of the highest authorities may fall victim to backroom games. Added to this is corruption. Senior officers and officials are regularly charged with embezzlement of public funds and misconduct, although these cases have received less publicity in recent years. So are the exhortations of Holt, Hyten, and others unnecessary and serve mainly to raise additional funds? None of the above. Note that the generals are not asking for money. China, with its ambitions, is indeed the greatest geopolitical challenge to the United States today. Confrontation with it requires a completely new approach. The US military-industrial complex, which has become a hardened oligopoly, is simply unable to respond satisfactorily to Washington's needs. Or can it? We will see in the future if this is true, but right now I want to say goodbye. See you in the next video.